afternoon and welcome back to Antolz for day 3 of the Biathlon World Championships. Martin Fourcade, certainly one of the favourites in today's race, the men's sprint event, which gets underway in just under 10 minutes time. A big field of over 100 athletes. The majority of the favourites deciding to go early on, which is not unusual, but one or two of the big names also deciding to go in Group 4 at the back of the field, banking on the fact it's going to get a little bit colder as the race goes on and perhaps the tracks will get quicker. Well, if you don't know where Antolz is, right up in the northeast of Italy. We're only, 4-5k from the Austrian border at the head of this particular valley. You can see the pass on that shot there. The stadium usually attracts a little bit of breeze at this time of day, but the flags are absolutely still.
It's a very easy day in the range. The athletes have just completed their test shooting, their zeroing, and throughout that 45-minute period, the flags hung straight down. No wind influence, but you know what? It may well pick up during the race.
Well, this certainly is one of the venues that produces more sunshine than any other, and these promotion shots are accurate for once. Blue skies since we arrived. Little bit of snow, tiny bit of snow yesterday morning between 6:30 and 7:30, which caused absolute mayhem in terms of the women's race and the condition of the track, Mike, with the high humidity. As soon as that was pressed down, the tracks were glazed. Today, everyone is saying the tracks are perfect.
And the wind, we mentioned the wind is easy, let's say, for shooting, but I think yesterday was the most unusual World Championships race that I've witnessed, with those two factors, the glazed tracks and then the difficult windy conditions, but it didn't have changed the shape of the race. The big names struggled.
But when you say windy conditions, it was really the wind changed during the zero. It changed between the end of the zero and the start of the race. The early starters didn't seem to have a clue where to go. Will it be the same for the men?
Bib number 3, there he is, Johannes Tingesbø, and he'll be a little nervous starting so early in this World Championships 10-kilometer sprint.
Well, Mickey Grice, one of the ex-athletes and ex-champions, is working with Eurosport. Let's hear from him, see what he has to say about the conditions of the track here in Antolz. Well, that's interesting from Mickey Grice. Do you agree with all that, Mike? Firstly, the long glide that he was saying is an essential part of the technique for cracking the Antolz tracks.
I think you have to be efficient, and it's one of these courses where efficiency, and he alluded, he knows how important it is, alluding to the fact that the thin air is a huge factor. If you attack too hard, certainly this first lap of 3.3, you will drop, let's say, 20 seconds of where you could have been if you start with fairly level pacing.
Yeah, and also saying that he thought the ones with the high VO2 max, the high cardiovascular capacity, are the ones who are going to win. That is, normally the way, particularly in cross country, but in biathlon it applies as well. However, if you have fast tracks, you have an easier time, you have a quicker time. There's less difference between the top athletes and the next league down. There's more opportunity for them to take advantage of perhaps one of the better athletes, the faster athletes, missing.
It's quite interesting that whole concept of the best VO2 max, the best engine. I think all these nations, the top nations, they've found those high VO2 maxes. Here's the journey.
Well, out into the woods, 3.3 kilometres as you saw, the little meadow there, which just leads them into an easy part of the track before they have the climb up the second meadow, the bigger one, the one where we've got some 7,000-8,000 spectators waiting to cheer them up the climb. Then under the road, into the range. Now, Mickey Grice said you have to work all the time. I think you would beg to differ with that, because you cannot work 100% into this range.
You certainly cannot. You're lucky to have within the 2 minutes prior to coming into the range, you drop down through the big field there, you've got a 20-second recovery. Then you have to compress and work under the bridge, but you have to take it easy into the range.
8 degrees at the moment, so there's a little bit of moisture on the top of the tracks, but much easier conditions in that yesterday it was glazed. Today, the ski generally holding quite a nice line on the tracks, and if our skis are holding a decent line, their skis certainly will be.
That's the feedback from athletes and coaches on the track. Perfect conditions all round. And the flags, I cannot remember a time when the range has been so calm, but I really am expecting the wind to pick up. Local time, we're 2:45, I think by about 3:15, so it may change as the race progresses.
And Louis Hebert, who's working with us, he was saying it's a real pleasure to ski on these tracks, which generally means that when you come to a downhill section, you get a bit of rest, which yesterday wasn't the case.
Definitely not. There's the start list. Local athlete Lukas Hofer starting first. Is that pressure? I think so.
I think it's a huge amount of pressure, and number one very, very seldom wins. You have to go all the way back to Contiolati 2012 since a number one won a men's sprint. Who was it? Of course, it was Martin Fourcade. Svensson got a second in Ruhpolding in the same year. Since then, very, very few people. One person has got into the top 5 starting number one. So, yes, it may not be the best athlete who draws number one, but all the best go in group one. So it does happen quite regularly.
Yes, vaguely, my memory throws back one of Ole Einar Bjørndal's victories, and of course he had many. I think one of them he was wearing bib number 1.
Ole Einar Bjørndalen out on the tracks this morning. In fact, it seemed that the whole of the Chinese coaching team were up the hill enjoying the sunshine. Daria Domracheva up there with Ole Einar up at just over 2,000 metres, the pass that leads into Austria, and they will be back in the stadium now waiting to see what the Chinese can do today. Let's have a look at some of the big names that have started a little bit later on, particularly in group number 4. We'll get to them on the next sheet. Here we go. Dominic Landertinger starting number 98. And then we've got Jakub Fak, who goes number 100. There they are. And of course, Clement Bauer, who goes 102. So the Slovenians banking on the temperature dropping rapidly after 3:45 this afternoon.
I think that's hands a potential advantage there to Jakub Fak, but he has to wait an awful long time before he starts his race.
Here's the defending champion, Johannes Tingesbø. Can he get a win? He finds it easy on the World Cup, not always the case in the major championships. Well, all the VIPs are out of the tent and onto the stands. We've got over 15,000 in the stadium area. We've got roughly the same number out on the tracks today. There will be a huge noise as the athletes climb up the hill, particularly Lukas Hofer, who's going to be the first to do it. So that should be a fantastic scene. Hopefully we'll see it rather than sticking on the start line all the way through the early stages of the race. Norwegian fans are here. Why? Because they win just about everything. 2 out of 2 golds for them so far. They won the mixed relay, the one with Roysland yesterday, and with Johannes Tingesbø, they have the man who is hot favourite to take gold.
They have, and the Norwegians have some luck on their side today as well. They can enter 5 today. All the other teams can enter 4 because they have the reigning world champion, Johannes.
Lukas Hofer, how nervous is he? He comes from Brunico, which is, 8.5, 9 kilometres down the road from the stadium. He's up here all day, every day in the summer, getting used to the tracks. The altitude is not an issue. He produces good ski times here. That's so important. The question is, can he cope with the pressure of a home championships? And the last time we had a world championships here was back in 2007. The winner on that day won Ole Einar Bjørndalen with Mickey Schlesinger, who's still racing today. He was in silver medal position.
What pressure for Hofer last year. It didn't go particularly well. He was 52nd at the World Championships.
So, 10,000 metres to cover, 2 shoots to complete, the first in the prone, the second in the stand. Will Lukas Hofer be able to bring Italy their second medal? Remember, they got a fabulous silver in the mixed relay on day 1. Starting number 2, Michael Křečmar, the Czech Republic, another nation that have been on the podium, not once, but twice after Shvatova backed up their mixed relay bronze.
It was incredible. Bronze medal, of course. Michael Křečmar, he was involved in the mixed relay. He felt the pressure, he said, but he managed to hold that rifle steady. And he must have thought last night, I have a slim chance today for a medal again.
Yeah, he took 11 rounds to clear the 10 targets. Today, he needs to make it 10 out of 10. Here we go then, an early start for the current world champion. He's got 3 medals in the sprint from 4 world championships. Very, very few men can boast that sort of achievement. You've got to remember, Fourcade is in his 9th world championships. Johannes Tingis at the moment.
It seems a long time ago. Well, it is quite a long time ago when he was 21 and he took his first ever World Championships title in this race in Kontiolahti 2015.
Yep, 4 previous champions racing today. Johannes Tingis, of course, one of them. He's won it twice. Fourcade has won it twice. Benedikt Doll, who won in 2017, and Pfeiffer, who won in Khanty-Mansiysk many moons ago, back in 2011. Number 4, Poshnev for Russia. The Russians haven't had too much to shout about, but the man from Saratov, which I think translates to the boggy island. He's on the banks, lives on the banks of the Volga, which you wouldn't expect to produce too many skiers, but Russia always seem to find the talented athletes. Who amongst their number is going to impress today?
Well, Poshnev, he has 4 medals from Junior World Championships. I think Loganov has a strong chance.
Simon Dessieux certainly has a chance for France. And he's a man, like many, who would say, I'd rather have a perfect race, do everything right, fight hard, hit the targets, than finish on the podium. He's now decided that if he wants his name to be remembered, he has to come away with medals. So he's hungry for medals today. He's certainly got the ability to do that. 3 podiums this year, no wins though.
We saw Phil Maillet there as Seppala is on the start line. Seppala, he's coached by his dad, and I remember his dad racing back here in '93. It wasn't a great day for his dad on that day. He finished 80th position, missing 5, and his son will hope for a lot better than that today.
Yeah, 79 and 72, his percentages for prone and stand. I think his dad will be saying, we need a lot better than that. We need it close to 100 today if you're going to stand a chance of making the top 10. Johannes Dahle, now 22. He's the new find in the Norwegian team. 9th in the World Cup standings, Mike. What's so impressive? 8 times already this year in the top 10.
And also when he's included, look at the tempo, when he's included in the relay team every time, he's won, 3 golds this season, 1 silver, and he will never let them down, even when he misses targets.
That was some start from Dahle. And don't forget, we're up at 1,600 metres. He could be gasping by the time he hits the woods. Now, Quentin Fillon-Maillet, he comes to these championships knowing that he's the only man that can match Johannes Tingis for speed. If he's on form today, it could be a French gold.
And of course he won the last World Cup race we had, individual. Of course, that was the mass start in Pokljuka.
2nd in the World Cup standings, and effectively just over 50 points behind Martin Fourcade once you take away the worst 2 races. So if he can close 5 points on Fourcade in each of the races up to the end of the season, he could be vying for number 1 when we complete in Oslo. Lukas Hofer up to 1.9.
When he started today, there's that sharp right-hander, which we've seen a number of times. He went like crazy out of the start line, Lukas Hofer. I'm pleased that he's calmed his pace down. 10Ks, it's not a sprint. It's called a sprint, but it's not.
Look at that, 4:05 for just under 2 kilometres. He's not hanging around, and the conditions, as we can see, much quicker than yesterday. Martin Fourcade means business. We saw him doing a few warm-up laps, Mike. Incredibly quick laps of the stadium, coming in to shoot 5 shots a time, then off he went again. Quite a severe warm-up.
Oh, it was incredible. The pace that he took the bend into the range. He wanted to get his heartbeat right up for the final zeroing shots.
Well, the director wants to know how Johannes Tingesbo has started. The Norwegian started steady in the relays. Krijmar's gone through 3 seconds outside. Hoffer would expect Berg to take, what, 5-6 seconds out of Hoffer in the first couple of K.
Do you know what? He is so strong. He makes it look so incredibly easy. That's a burning up pace.
That is an incredible margin. He wants to put pressure on Martin Fourcade. Is it going to be another medal day for the Americans? Leif Nordgren would have to produce the race of his life, as would the rest of the team, if they want to get anywhere near the top 3 today. It was a brilliant result for Susan Dunkley yesterday.
I was so happy for Susan Dunkley. She puts the work in. She's never stopped believing that she can win a World Cup or World Championships, and she was very close yesterday.
Florent Claude of France originally, racing for Belgium, of course, and tragedy striking their family this winter, losing his dad earlier in the year, and all credit to them for racing here and racing so well since that tragedy, and we wish them well over the rest of the season. Now, Simon Dessieux, he is going to get a split from the French team fairly soon. I'm not sure he's going to like what he hears.
Johannes Tingesbo has without a doubt gone for the shock strategy, really upset everybody else. When you know after 2 Ks you're 20 seconds behind, it really does put tension through the athletes, and that will be the same for Martin Fourcade. He'll know now it's a crazy fast pace, and he can make a decision whether he has to go with that or not.
And the difference this time is that Fourcade, who starts number 18, has seen it. He knows what Johannes Tingesbo's game is, and that is really, over the last 2 years, what has put Fourcade off, having someone who's skiing so much faster.
It does put, you know, when you don't expect it, and now I suppose certainly last year everyone expected this kind of pace on lap 1.
15 seconds ahead of Hoffer at the first split. That was at just under 2 kilometres. What's he managed to do over the last 1,100 metres? Oh my goodness, it's up to 23 seconds. He's already a penalty loop ahead, but he's got to pray that he hits 5 on the first shoot. Johannes Kern starts for Germany, 13th in the World Cup standing, so don't rule him out of a top 3. His form looked to be getting better and better and better, and then it dropped away drastically in the mass start in Pachuca, but we'll put that down to one bad day and a couple of poor shots.
Lukas Hoffer, what a moment, just as you mentioned earlier, just living down the valley. He's adjusting his sights. Yes, that is sensible. I didn't know the wind had already picked up, and it's coming from the left to the right, so he's adjusted into the wind.
He was about 10 seconds off the fastest time in the mixed relay.
Look who's in already. Johannes Tingesbo has just passed our commentary box, halfway down the range now.
Everything low for Hoffer. It's not a bad group, but I think the Italians will be watching on carefully to see whether they need to adjust the sights up. Johannes Tingesbo comes all the way up into lane number 1, which is where he zeroed his rifle earlier on today. Big difference between the women and the men's race. The women had changing wind conditions. The men have had none at all. No excuses for missing. Has the light changed significantly, Mike, to drop the rounds? Yes.
Yes, it has. That's the only factor that has changed here. The wind, the sunlight has dropped down. He's got his rhythm now.
All that skiing on the first lap has gone to waste with that one miss. But that 23-second gap, he's still highly likely to come out with a lead.
Guess who was watching that shot on the big screen? So that will give him hope that Johannes has missed one.
And how many shots has Martin Fourcade missed in the 5 sprints this season? A big, fat 0. 100% hit rate in the prone position for Martin Fourcade.
Incredible. And you know what? If Johannes Tingesbo hadn't missed that target, he would have gone out on the heels of Martin Fourcade, and that would have helped his cause. Fresh legs against legs, which are now feeling pretty tired after 3.3 kilometres and a penalty loop.
Well, thanks to the fact that Hoffer missed the target, Johannes Tingesbo still has the lead, but he doesn't look quite as lively at the start of his second lap as he did at the start of his first. Quentin Fillon-Maillet is just around the corner. He'll be coming down into the stadium in about a minute and a half. Simon Dessieux, his teammate, settling for his first shoot.
Well, that was Porshnev, first athlete to shoot clear. He's only a fourth starter. Of course, Johannes Dingesbo missed one, Hofer missed one, Kretschmer missed two.
Watch the time to the first shot. 15.6, that's not bad. Not the fastest we'll see today, but good enough. A steady pace. We're looking at around, what, 28, 29 seconds for the prone shoot. 28.1 for Simon Dessieux. The key factor is all five have gone down. He won't match Johannes Dingesbo, but he's got 150 metres less skiing in his legs.
Incredibly, Dessieux will be thinking, well, why am I not out front just now? The pace that Johannes Dingesbo has set is just an incredible pace. It didn't pay off for him. He took the punishment off that penalty loop, 150 metres.
But I'm absolutely convinced, Mike, it is all about trying to upset Martin Fourcade. If it hit five, I think Fourcade would have said, OK, I'm racing for second.
I think so. And as he was on the start line, here's Arp Pfeiffer now. He knows how to cope with stress and pressure on the big day.
Now we need to pick up on Martin Fourcade as he comes through the first split at 1.9. Johannes Dalle, a miss from him as well.
I didn't see where that, we weren't looking in on the targets, unfortunately. He's lost a lot of time with that side change.
What about Phil Maillet on the way in?
Very fast. He's 8.2 behind Johannes Dingesbo.
So 5 out of 5 for Phil Maillet, and he will certainly take the lead, and we'll have two Frenchmen in the top three.
Look at the space, the time between each shot, Patrick. It's 2.9, 2.8, but it hasn't paid off.
Number 5 has gone wide. A little lapse of concentration.
He needed those 5.
Look at the tension in the French camp. There's as much pressure in the start area as there is in the range area. The Norwegians, well, they've got 5 races today, so if Johannes Dingesbo doesn't make it, they've still got a chance. Cheng Fangming, the Chinese, producing one of only 4 athletes yesterday to hit the perfect score on the range. Yes, they faded in the closing stages, but a real credit to Bjorn Dahlen and Dom Rasheva, who've been working with the Chinese for the last 6-7 months.
Yes, the team is growing in confidence. They know they've got the best information. They've now got the best shooting coach in the world as well.
Pig Drushny, the pursuit world champion from Östersund last year. Can he spring another surprise of that magnitude? There's no doubt the Ukrainians are skiing well. Martin Fourcade coming up to 1.9. Well, the pace looks pretty healthy, to be honest. And Johannes Dingesbo's 350 isn't going to be bettered, but he's not going to be far outside. Sort of setting the same sort of pace as Phil Maillet, who went through just 9 seconds outside. He's inside that at 5.7, but my goodness, he's pushing hard.
This is a very, very dangerous strategy, I think, to try and, in the first 2Ks of this race, to push so hard. And everybody talks about the altitude, the effects that it has on your lungs, your breathing capacity. It really makes you suffer. And I think that will trip some of these big names up later in this race.
Johannes Kern for Germany, just working his way down through the meadows, starting to prepare himself mentally for the first shoot. 6-7 deep on that particular part of the course, and the majority of the fans here have come over the Austrian border, over the Italian border from Germany. They will be in uproar if Kern can clear 5 on his first shoot.
Just looking at the exiting the range for the first time. Porshnev, we mentioned, we did talk about Porshnev, his medals from the Junior Championships. He's in 3rd position, only 8 seconds behind.
Now, Simon Eder, who was on poor ski form last year, it was a bad season for him, but at the World Championships, he cleared all the targets in the sprint, he cleared all the targets in the pursuit. Should he do the same here again, we might have an Austrian getting close to the podium.
I was just thinking, of course, I looked at the old stats from World Championships here at this venue. His father took the bronze medal in this race way back in 1983. And on that day, his father shot the perfect score. Can his son, Simon, do the same?
Well, not a huge reaction to the first 2 shots from Simon Eder. But just listen to the difference when Johannes Kern hits a target. 4 out of 5 for Simon Eder. it's not going to be the perfect day for him. Johannes Tingesbø approaching the range for the second time. Won't be long before he's in.
I'm just thinking, Patrick, in this race you've got to take a little risk. You've got no spare rounds though, but you have to keep the shooting rhythm quite fast. Here comes Martin.
Under 50% clear, Mike. Martin Fourcade coming in for shoot number 1. Have we got any update on Johannes Tingesbø? He must be close to coming in for his second shoot. Seb Samuelsson, what an Olympics he had out in Pyeongchang. I thought he'd have gone down, but just too low, too right, and he ends up with 4 out of 5, way under 50% now, hitting all 5 on the first shoot. But the master of the first shoot this season has been Martin Fourcade. He leads the sprint standings, he leads the overall, which is why he has the yellow and the red bib on his shoulders today.
Johannes has just gone through 6.3 kilometres. He's now 39 seconds ahead of Hofer. They're the only 2 athletes through that point.
Hofer just coming into the range, and he will go for lane 17, I think it is, for his standing shoot as we stay on Martin Fourcade.
At the Olympics, Martin came in 12 seconds behind Johannes Tingesbø. Today it's 11.8.
Look at that, 18 seconds to get that first round away. 3 or 4 seconds, very well spent. Should they all go down? 4 out of 4, 5 out of 5. That's what we've got used to seeing from Martin Fourcade. He's on his way. Advantage the French as they go into the second half of the race.
Johannes is building his position right now. Johannes Tingesbø is in on stand shooting on lane 18.
Lucas Hofer, 4 out of 5. Johannes Tinges on 18, next door to the one we saw. Hofer on, 4 out of 4 for Johannes, 5 out of 5.
Hey.
That is much better, 22.5. A quick loop and a quick shoot. Is that going to be good enough to put him into contention? He won the last World Championships, hitting 9 out of 10. But on that occasion, Fourcade was not in the sort of ski form to challenge.
This is going to be the biggest test, I think, at altitude here, having pushed so hard in the first lap. A huge test for Johannes Tingesbø now to hold his shape and form.
And one of his problems, Mike, is he's got a race again tomorrow. Well, as to the top 60 from today, but no rest for these athletes. The women, of course, getting a day off to recover from their sprint. Benedikt Dahl with mistakes. Remember, he won the World Championships in Hogfilsen back in 2017. Any news from the Russians? Anything that they can cheer about?
Well, Portionovich, he's still 26, 27 seconds behind Johannes Tingesbø. And today that could give him potentially a top 12, top 10 position.
Simon Dessieux is in. He went clear on the first shoot.
Portionev, that was rapid fire. He's hit 10 out of 10.
22 seconds, remember, for Bert of Norway for his 5, but a miss from Simon Dessieux means that he won't be challenging for the win. Top 3, not anymore. Top 10 looks unlikely. He gets 3 out of 5, and that's a shame, having gone through the prone shoot without any mistakes at all. Arndt Pfeiffer, one of 5 men I've listed as enjoying racing at altitude. Is it going to be his day?
He's got his work cut out. Johannes putting that incredibly fast first lap, and then he shot so fast and accurately in his standing.
But it could come down to a race over the last 2.5 or 3.3 kilometres.
Brilliant.
Arndt Pfeiffer gets 5. The Germans enjoy that. 33.6. Don't worry about the speed. Tavia Burt never won the sprint world title.
Fourth best time into the range, Patrick. It's only 13 seconds behind his brother.
And down goes number 5. Are we going to see 2 Burt brothers on the podium again? We saw it in Kontiolahti in 2015 when Johannes won and Tavia Burt finishing in 3rd position. Phil Moyer, that one miss on the first shoot, really making life difficult for himself. But he will believe he can chase down Johannes Tingesbø.
He's running at the same time, actually. He's only into the range, 0.2. You can see it there of a second behind.
Look at the total score. He's got the advantage of starting behind him. That's going to be a battle and a half, Mike. And the Norwegians need to get the news out onto the tracks that it's not going to be an easy run to the finish for Johannes Tingesbø. Another miss for Dale. He's out of contention for a top 5, a 6. Now watch the time here for Phil Moyer. He's got the green light. Incredible work. Incredible. 0.6 of a second between the two leaders after the second shoot. Johannes Tinges, Mike, last year would have had 20 clear of Fillon-Maillet. Things have changed in the French camp with the guidance of Vincent Vito, the cross-country skier who's come in. New training techniques, certainly, but many people thinking it's the way that he developed such a good spirit in the team.
So important. You live for so many hours. There's Pegrushny, you mentioned him earlier. That's a great time. Him, after his first shooting, he's in second place. Yeah, team spirit is so important, and they have it in abundance.
Martin Fourcade, have we got any update on him? Out on the tracks after the first shoot. He's not been through.
The computer is struggling with the excitement at the moment. We're only getting about 8 main names at 6.3 kilometers.
Yeah, Fourcade down in third place after the first shoot. Only 1.4 behind Johannes Tinges, behind Tadiabo, who has the lead on 7:49. There's the replay of Tadiabo. Great start from him. Slight change on the course. Well, Fillon-Maillet 3.3 behind Johannes Tinges coming in, Mike. He switched the tables only by half a second, but advantage France as we go into the latter stages of the early starters. Here we go with Johannes Tinges, a minute inside Hoffer. Now he was 59 ahead of Hoffer coming out of the stadium. The reasons it's only a minute and 2 is because Hoffer's tucked in behind him and feeding off him just as he did in the mixed relay.
Oh, it's incredible, but Johannes, he didn't look overly strong there. That'll give hope for Fillon-Maillet. In fact, Fillon-Maillet has gone from 3 seconds behind at 6.3.
That's just before the shoot, so he gained those 3 or 4 seconds in the range, which is slightly surprising because Johannes Tinges' shoot was fantastic.
It was 22.5 seconds, so the risk factor, yes, they both missed one, but skiing fast to make up for it.
Martin Fourcade started number 18, incidentally, so we've got a couple of minutes before he comes in. You can get your breath, take a sip of your coffee, because that is going to be a very, very crucial stage of this race. Hopefully we'll get out onto the meadow just to see him making his approach. We can see what sort of pace he's setting. Yet to go through 6.3.
Good to see different teams here. Dombrovski, the last 3 10-kilometer sprints, he's only missed 1 shot, so that's 30 shots fired. He's only missed 1.
Nice work so far. Excellent work from Dombrovski. Oh, drops it low.
That was way off. He wasn't aimed on that target. It was a nervous snatch, and it was too late, and the shot falls down low.
The thinking shot from Dombrovski goes wide. Julian Eberhardt just coming in for Austria. He's a potential winner. Eberhardt hasn't done so much this year, but if he's on any sort of ski form, he's dangerous here in Antolz. Kern with a miss on the prone, putting himself effectively a shot behind the top 2, Fillon-Maillet and Johannes Tinges.
It just shows how difficult this is. Top-class biathlete Kern missing 3 in the stand.
Martin Fourcade, Mike, has closed 4 seconds on Johannes Tinges on the second lap. Here comes Johannes Tinges into the finish. I think he's paying the price for going out too fast.
Lucas
just as you suggested.
Breaking away ahead of him. Johannes will be in absolute pain right now.
6.8, and that little green light tells you the story. Fillon-Maillet fast on the first lap, but he was 8 seconds slower than Johannes Tinges to that first split at 1.9. 8 seconds that effectively are going to put him into ahead of Johannes Tinges and possibly give him the gold medal. But with Martin Fourcade on the range at the moment, 5 out of 5, and he will be the man who's chasing. 31 seconds to go. This should take 25. Again, a little bit longer to the first shot at 13.4. What are we looking at? A 23-second shoot. Has to get 5. That's where most people would have put their money.
Incredible.
And Martin Fourcade, as we watch Johannes Tinges come across the line, he's a spent force. He's lost ground to Hoffer over the closing stages, and I think that means he's going to lose the gold medal. You cannot take anything away from him. He gave that 100%. He knew what his tactics were going to be. Out goes Martin Fourcade. Again, he finds himself 4 seconds behind the race leaders. But this time, it's his teammate rather than Johannes Tingesbø.
I get the feeling, though, likewise with Johannes, who can not move probably for 2 minutes. He's so exhausted. I think that Martin Fourcade is going to drop off his pace as well. So for me at the moment, it's a feel my day.
It certainly could turn out that way, and you know, you can't take anything away from him. He's been absolutely brilliant this season, Mike, and getting a win over Martin Fourcade will just help close the gap in the World Cup standings. Is he going to be the man who breaks the control that Fourcade and Bø have had over the last few years? The last 31 sprint races, Mike, between Fourcade and Bø, they've won 22. The rest of the world have won 9. That's an amazing statistic.
The rest of the world have hardly had a chance, but right now it's looking so good for strength all season. He's had that magnificent ski speed all season.
Yeah, and his lead gets bigger and bigger and bigger. He's still getting faster. Johannes Tinges was getting slower at that stage. Benedict Doll, no regaining of the sprint world title that he won back in 2017. Not such a good day for the Germans at the moment. The best going out have to go quite a long way down after the second shoot. Kern at 17 at the moment.
When they get the split times, or when you're racing around the track and these big names are getting your split times behind the likes of Fourcade or Johannes Tingesbø, it's a rather depressing thought, and affects them mentally, I think.
Is this going to be Norway's last chance? Will it be Terje Bø
who
claims the title?
6 seconds advantage.
Again, 5 shots or bust. Nice start. Big cheer for Phil May as he comes in, and the lead is absolutely enormous. 17.4. He's taken a huge amount of time out of Johannes Tingesbø. What about Terje Bø? He's got 1 left, 1 target to fall. He does exactly that. The race is on. Now Terje Bø has to produce the ski speed that we haven't really seen since 2011. Has he got it in those legs?
Oh, this is going to be, I said, it's the biggest fight for his young brother, Johannes. Now, Terje's got the biggest battle on his hands.
Yeah, I think he's got a battle to make the top 3, to be honest. 4.1 behind. This could be your world champion from today. Phil May, sensational all the way through the season. Number 2 in the World Cup standings due to the consistency that he's shown. Vincent Vito, the head ski coach for the French team, will be jumping with joy. I'd love to see a shot of him.
We mustn't forget about Pigrushny. Skiing fast. He's come on to these championships in such great form.
He got it. Oh, there goes a chance of getting the gold for Ukraine, and that just adds insult to injury. Oh, a little bit unlucky for Pigrushny. He was going for it. The last shot again, Mike. We've seen that a few times. Yesterday, it was all about the first shot.
Quite amazing. That thinking shot, that's such an unusual mistake to make, and it's a disappointment of missing the last shot.
It's such an easy mistake to make. Just a lapse of concentration from Pigrushny. Maybe the noise putting him off.
They're so well drilled. That's just partly due to his disappointment.
Here's Loginov, and Loginov 6th in the World Cup standings. Not been his best season, to be honest. His form dropping away, but suddenly came up in the mixed relay. Showed good ski speed in that mixed relay. Now, this is the time we want. Martin Fourcade with 4 seconds to make up. I don't think anyone can match Phil May over the course at the moment. No, he's going to be struggling for second place. He may find himself off the podium. 7.4 behind.
I think we alluded to the fact that he tried to chase that early incredible pace, and he really is burning up now, suffering for that. Loginov always shoots fast. Actually, he didn't today. He released his first shot at 17.5, 29.5, but he made them count. He could still challenge.
Yeah, he's not out of it, but he's got to produce 2 sensational loops. And Shadow's getting a little bit longer. The temperature's not really falling. It was 8 degrees just before the start of the race. If it gets down to 2 or 3, the tracks will certainly start to harden up in the wooded area. And at least 60% of this course is in the woods.
It may well change, that's what I'm thinking. These World Championships so far have been so strange. Christian Gau now on the start line, his brother set off earlier.
Canadians doing okay in the mixed relay, finishing just one slot behind the Americans. A reverse in that order would have cheered them up, but the Americans still very much in control with Susan Dunkley's silver medal yesterday. Now, Martin Fourcade, any other splits? We've got him through 8.5 with just under 1,500 metres to go now. 7.4 behind. He's only a second, or not even a second behind Johannes Tingesbø. So that's a real battle, and an important one for Fourcade in terms of not only medals, but also the World Cup.
Look at his body language. He is absolutely exhausted. Little stumble there, desperately getting his elbows above his knees to take the tension off the legs. Working again round the corner.
But Johannes lost so much time over the last kilometre and a half, Mike. Fourcade surely has a good crack at the silver medal position at the moment.
He'll still believe it, and this is the place to be in the cut, prepared tracks. But I did notice Fiumaye wasn't. He was way to the left, taking the shortest race line down this descent.
Still a few metres to go, and keep an eye on the white figure, 7.58. Fourcade goes through in second place at 9.1. He's got a 3-second advantage over Johannes Tingesbø, so it looks as though France are going 1 and 2. But here's a man who could change all that. Tingesbø digging deeper than he's done at any stage of this season. Things started to go wrong after Christmas, but he's put it right today. I think we're really looking at a top 3. He could be the man who pushes his brother off the podium.
Well, it's actually looking very much like that scenario, although he's only 1.5 seconds ahead of his brother at the moment, but his brother faded over this section, and it looks like Daria is struggling and suffering at this particular part of the track as well. Samuelson, we missed Samuelson, but he's running in 4th position at the moment.
Yeah, looking a little like Susan Dunkley coming into the finish yesterday, could hardly stay on her feet. Samuelson is going to be over 57 seconds behind, and that puts him the same margin behind at the start of tomorrow's pursuit. Are these guys going to have anything left to give? Here comes Martin Fourcade. He won't match the 22.54, but he's going to come comfortably inside Johannes Tingesbø, and he gets the silver medal position for now. He'll have to wait and see whether Tingesbø can challenge, and we'll keep an eye on the later starters to see if anyone can better that. Can't see anyone going through chute number 2 who's threatening his time at the moment. France 1 and 2. We've seen France 1, 2, 3 and 4 this season. It's been an incredible year. And interesting, Mike, the cross country's all been about Norway and Russia. The biathlon has all been about France and Norway.
So strong. The French team have landed. We mentioned the team spirit. They have deep confidence because they know they can ski so fast, and their shooting has improved as well.
9.6. When he goes through this split point, he will have 400 metres to go.
The coaches, Patrick, they're giving him every piece of information, desperately trying to bring some more attack into his skiing. Of course, he needs to relax when on these descents to build up, get some breathing under control for the final push.
Bittersweet situation for Tingesbø. Should he make the podium, he will deny his brother a medal. But his brother's got enough medals. This is, in many ways, for the Norwegians, I think it's far more important that Tingesbø gets himself into the top 3.
What will Johannes think? Of course, he missed 2 World Cups and put this week of racing at the World Champs as his key important period.
Oh, it's going to be so close. Johannes Tingesbø at 12. He's just inside. The 2 brothers, just a second or so between them. Fourcade is safe in the silver medal position for now. Benedikt Dahl of Germany into the finish. 3 misses, 3 penalty loops, 450 extra metres. That's 4.5% added to his race distance. He's quick, but he's not that quick. And a disappointing finish for Benedikt Dahl, 5th for now. He's probably going to be squeezed out of the top 10, I suspect, come the end of the race. And that makes life in the pursuit tomorrow very hard. Arndt Pfeiffer, Mike, with a clear chute, I thought he'd be challenging for a top spot.
Clear chute in his mind, he would have thought, well, that's me on the podium, but so many good performances there. Martin Fourcade hitting the perfect 10 as well.
12 seconds for Tarja Burr to finish to deny Martin Fourcade the silver. That is not going to happen. It's all about Johannes Tingesbo. Will he get into top spot? Will he get into third? 17.4 the margin. It's going to be what? A second and a half between the two brothers, and it's Tarja Burr, the older one, who gets the advantage on this occasion. And the two Burr brothers, 3 and 4. Fourcade celebrates. How important is that? Not just to be on the medals, but to have beaten the two Burr brothers.
That's incredible. And Tarja Burr has beaten his little brother by 1.4 seconds. I wonder how that will go down.
Well, I must say, every time that Johannes beats Tarja is very, very gracious in defeat. It would be nice to see that work the other way around, and I think it will do, to be honest.
Look at there are few venues in the World Cup circuit or World Championships where the athletes are so exhausted they cannot move for a full couple of minutes.
France, Norway. Arndt Pfeiffer, 33.2 behind, down in 5th position at the moment. Samuelsson of Sweden's had a good run. He's in 6th. We've got Benedict Doll, the former champion, in 7. And Scott Gower, Canada, he deserves a mention. 8th place at the moment, 1:09 behind. Very few clear shoots, Mike. We only saw 4 in the women's race yesterday. There aren't going to be many more today in the men's.
Well, 5 so far. There's 25 athletes been through, to the finish so far. I thought we'd see some 15, 20 athletes.
Well, we'd better go back to shoot number 1 just to see if any of the higher starters. Loganoff definitely was a danger. Started 43. He's in the top 4 after the first shoot. And Bjorntegard also, 44. He started. And he's in the top 10 after the first shoot, having gone clear.
We saw Mark Kirchner there. He knows how it feels to win these races. He's won 2 of them back-to-back, 93 and 94, I think it was, long time ago.
Loganoff with a big moment. 8.9 inside Fiume. Are Russia going to spoil the French party? Jacquelin just preparing for his first shoot. He's back on form. And he's on a roll. He gets 5 and he makes a challenge. 27 seconds to play with. Loganoff certainly is in a fabulous position, Mike.
For a lot of the season, we've said he needs to find another 40, 45 seconds. Today he's found that ski speed. Can he hold it? Look at his time.
It's sensational. It is sensational. But there is no doubt that Fiume produced the fastest finishing lap so far. He's going to find that tough to match, but he has the advantage. And Jacquelin comes out with a lead after the prone shoot, so he's in the money as well. So often in the World Cups, the race is over by the time the first 20 or so have finished. That is not going to be the case today. We could go all the way to the back of the field. Frustration for Bjorntegard. 3 misses of the 5. He was 28 seconds. So I guess he had to take a few risks on that occasion, but he's much, much better than that. So I don't know what got to him in his stand shoot. We haven't mentioned the Italians other than Lukas Hoffer, who started early. And Hoffer showing once again that starting number 1 is a mighty, mighty difficult task to deal with. Not since 2012 has anyone won a sprint having started first.
I'm just thinking, now that I've got my breath back, that Loganoff has now the chance clearly to push certainly Tarja Burr off the podium. So the Burr brothers could well end up 4th and 5th, or even worse.
Dominic Vindish exits the range with... he hasn't got the story he wanted to tell. He wanted 10 out of 10. He's got 7 out of 10. And that, at this level, is just not good enough today. Mike, wind conditions perfect. shooting standard way below what we've seen throughout the year. Again, World Championship pressure and the lack of oxygen in the air.
Those two factors, always you see a little ripple at World Championships. People try a little harder, and once you change routines, it tends to go wrong. The thin air is the huge factor here to get your routines, your shooting rhythms that you've practiced all summer. It's different up here in this thin air in Antolz.
This is a good shoot from Oxenus. Everything nice and central.
Wonderful.
Drops that last one a little bit low, but safely inside. Elisiev, another man who showed great speed in the mixed relay, so he's got a chance of challenging his teammate Loganov, who has the fastest time after the second shoot, and the margin is 7.6 seconds. We'll get another split when he goes through 8.5, and that will be in roughly 3 minutes' time.
Loganov, for me, there he is. He didn't look so sparky as he left the stadium.
That's Elisiev.
Of course, that's Elisiev just having shot.
Yeah, Loganov wearing 43. We should pick up on him pretty soon. Elisiev, minute inside. It's looking pretty handy, to be honest.
His ski speed in the mixed relay, as was Loganov, they had improved their ski speed massively. They were matching the big names again instead of being those 30-45 seconds deficit. This is the best range entry time. We thought that Johannes Tingesbø was fast.
Well, are the conditions getting quicker? He's going into Group 2. I assume Elisiev was at the back end of Group 2.
Actually, I'm looking at the screen there, but my computer is telling me Elisiev is 11.4 behind Johannes Tingesbø as he came in. But yes, then Johannes missed a shot.
So, Loganov, 7 seconds was our last indication when he exited at 6.6 kilometers, now coming up to 8.5 with 1,500 meters, and it's still looking very good, but it was the last kilometer and a half where Phil Maillet was exceptionally good and took a whopping amount of time out of Fourcade and Johannes Tingesbø.
Loganov, he looked composed, he wasn't panicking, and often if you panic and you're pushing over the top, you tighten those muscles up. He's keeping the flow going well, you can see it there. Good rise on each, just prior to each compression. Well, what a turnaround. Yeah, Phil Maillet must have thought when those big names came in behind him that medal was secure around his neck, the gold medal. Not anymore.
Phil Maillet, Mike, took 7.5 seconds out of Martin Fourcade on that last 1,500 meters. Loganov, 7.5 seconds. So he's got to match Phil Maillet's pace rather than Martin Fourcade's. That's a very tall order. The French are looking nervous. They're looking nervous. And it must be quite hard. Martin Fourcade, so many years at the top of the game. If he had a half-decent performance, he won. Nowadays, not only is it Johannes Tinges, he's got the rest of the French team who are all on sensational form. And we know when we go to the championships, the Russians, the Ukrainians, the Swedes will all up their game.
But Martin is such a team player. He has desperately tried to bring the French team up with him. He hasn't wanted to leave them behind. And now he's almost suffering because of that. Loganov still looking unbelievably balanced, so much in control at the moment, but Phil Maillet had a really fast final 700 meters.
Now, what does Loganov need at this 9.6 kilometer stage? If he's within, if he's still 7 seconds ahead, you would have thought he's going into gold medal position.
At the next split time, you would absolutely think so. He's so relaxed. He had a little cough or got rid of the phlegm round that corner. That's wasting time. He's back in the tuck position. It's going to be close. Look at that. The clock's 12 seconds now. This is where Phil Maillet really put the turbos on.
7.1, Mike.
Incredible.
7.1. He's lost absolutely nothing. From 8.5, he was 7.3 ahead. So 0.2 of a second has gone the way of the Frenchman. But Loganov's on his way to top spot.
Well, he's got traffic. My only worry there, he's got traffic ahead of him down and under the bridge. But it's a wide track, of course.
Traffic, that's great. A little bit of slipstream. So that's another half second to his advantage, surely.
Look at his skis. Look at his skis. But he just needs to carefully get past and he needs to keep fighting. 7 seconds is handy to have in your pocket over the last 400 meters.
How many World Cups have the Russians won so far this season? Absolutely none. But They are going to get into top spot at the moment. We can't celebrate for them quite yet, simply because we've got the likes of Bauer and Fack and Landerting are all starting right at the back of the field today. But Loganov is going to be the man who sets the pace. This is the traffic that I guess you were worried about. Yes. He finds his way through the middle, threads the needle, and he comes home 6.5 clear. The French demoted to second and third. It's Russia who lead, 22:48. A phenomenal time on this Antolz course. The last time we raced here, Johannes Tingesbo won in 24:37. Wow.
Well, I'm just thinking back as Jacquelin has maybe a chance to turn this around again.
Again, he needs 5. The pressure is on. A little bit low left with 3. Throws number 4 wide. That's cost him the gold medal.
That has cost him so dearly. And you felt he kept the same rhythm, but that was a panic shot by missing by such a margin.
And the time, Mike, is sensational. He would have been roughly 8-9 seconds clear of Loganov coming through. So, do we assume the conditions are getting quicker? I think we do. The shadows have got, an extra 10 metres longer. The forest section of the course will definitely be cooler.
It's without a doubt. Look at the shadows here. There's more as that temperature drops on the snow surface, and that makes me feel good about Jakob Fack at bib number 100, and of course Dominic Landertinger, who is setting a fabulous pace in the mixed relay. He's bib number 98.
Well, if we go back to shoot number 1, as we watch Emilien Jacquelin, only 12.8 outside. Well, I'm not sure he'll give up. He might feel he can make the podium.
Well, he can, because he's just 0.3 of a second behind Martin Fourcade as he left the range after his second shoot. So Jacquelin will possibly turn around. In fact, he may even knock Fourcade off the podium.
Well, there are the standings at the moment. Loganov leads, Fillmaier 2, Fourcade 3, Taliabeau 4. Now, this race has been a nail-biter, Mike, but you know what it does? It sets up a fantastic situation for the pursuit. What have we got? 23 seconds separating the top 5. We've got, at the moment in the finish, 8 in the first minute. But the fact that we've got all the fastest men in the field, the fastest men throughout the season, are all there in the top 5.
It's it's another incredible day in Antolz. The flags have barely moved all day. The shooting should be easy. And of course, the thin air, the lack of oxygen in your lungs has been a huge factor here.
Leitner of Austria getting next to no reception at all for his good shooting. Hard to believe we're only 400 metres or 4 kilometres from the Austrian border.
And we saw his coach there, the German Rico Gross. Rico back in just get me dates right. 1993 he came 3rd, and then of course the next World Championships here, 2007, he was still on the podium in this race.
Otsinus, who cleared 10, and I don't think he's quite going to match Benedict Dolizy, who lies in 10th position at the moment. It's going to be close. But I think he might just miss it. Will he squeeze in? He does, by 0.4 of a second. Otsinus goes top 10. I think unlikely he'll stay there, but I'd be surprised if he dropped much below 15. Now, here's the man who shot the quickest last year in Antolz. He didn't actually finish the race. He'd missed so many targets, pulled out after the second shoot. And it was interesting last year, Mike, the top 3 positions were all around 30th, 40th in terms of shooting speed. All the fast shots were down the bottom end of the result sheet.
Today it's absolutely working for Lapshin, and this is an incredible time. He's come into the range only 9 seconds behind the best at that time. Well, that's a turnaround in form.
Well, it certainly is, but had 5 gone down, he would have been into the top 5 and in a position to challenge Loganov, who leads. The French will be so disappointed with Jacquelin, who's gone out in 6th position. We'll try and track Jacquelin as he goes through 8.5. Should be there in a couple of minutes' time. I thought Benny Vega might do okay. We haven't seen anything of him, which is usually an indication that things aren't quite going his way.
Certainly the indications, and of course their final preparation at high altitude before coming here, as was Susan Dunkley, of course, training in Martel in Italy as well, but higher than this venue.
Yeah, Vega off the pace, not in the top 30 after the second shoot. Started number 48. Oh. I know how he feels.
Isn't that incredible? That was potentially a top 10 result, and he knew that, and just meltdown really in the stand shoot.
Alicia, 30 seconds behind, but that's courtesy of the missed target in the prone position. If 5 go down, he might be heading for a top 7 or 8. Not bad.
Yeah, look at that first shot released in under 15. He's always a fast rhythm shooter.
Jacquelin, when he left the range, Mike, was 12.8 behind, so he's lost another 10 seconds, maybe burning too much energy in the early stages of the race.
Yes, now at this particular point in the race, he's slim. In fact, no chance really of a podium.
Well, I must say, a bit disappointed with the numbers of German fans that are exiting the stadium at the moment. They feel the day is done. With Germany in 6th and 7th position at the I guess they feel they've got no chance of a win. Have we got any Germans starting in the last group?
No, they know the start sheet. I mean, they know what's happening here. Of course, the last German start was bib 41, and it hasn't gone well for the Germans.
Looks as though Russia are heading for gold with Loganov, who leads in the finish, 22.48. His time, 6 seconds clear of Phil Maillet, who must have thought, Mike, having been the fastest skier since the Christmas period and out skiing Johannes Tingsbø on a number of occasions, he must have thought he had it.
The only thoughts, I think you're spot on, the only thoughts go through his mind would have been that this is the best day of my life to win a World Championships 10-kilometre sprint. Because of those fast ski times, nobody would have expected someone who had less good form throughout the first part of the season to come through and take this title today.
Well, I tell you, that necklace, which looks like it's solid silver, that could have saved him 6 seconds if he'd put that aside this morning. But the key factor, you know, do you deserve to win the Sprint World title if you miss a target?
Yes, if you put the punishment into the skiing. but I know what you mean, and Loganov did everything right. He took the risk of fast shooting, and that's a big risk at this, we mentioned the altitude, what it does to you. He went for that risk, it paid off. Fourcade, on the other hand, he slowed his shooting rhythm down, lost a few seconds to Loganov in terms of his shooting speed. But at the moment, it's paid off for Loganov. Jakob Fack may change that. Dominic Landetinger may well change that with the tracks now becoming a little faster.
Yes, Benelin, pretty quick, 15.5, and certainly produced a decent ski time in the mixed relay on the opening day of the championships. This is nice and solid. Cleans it up, a little bit low, a little bit right, but safely inside that 4.5 centimetre target for the prone shooting, and Nellin is in the battle for a top 10 position. Sweden need that. They've got Samuelsson lying in 9th at the moment, 103 behind, and then their next best is Poncelomo down in 19th. Mike, any other minor nations who've got themselves in a good position? We've mentioned Scott Gow, who lies 12th for Canada.
Scott Gow and Otsinus, without a doubt, his best race of the season, and holding the pressure there with a perfect shoot, only 1:11 behind. That's good news for him for tomorrow's pursuit competition.
Yeah, Otsinus from Slovakia, and Ukraine have got Pigdrushny in 8th position at the moment. The Germans with Pfeiffer and Horn in 6 and 7. Norway with Burt and Burr in 4 and 5. Tadej Burr ahead of his younger brother. And then the French have Phil Maillet and Fourcade on the podium at the moment. Jacquelin across the line, losing energy in that last lap. 29.8 the margin in the end, having come out of the range just 12.8 behind. So he, like Johannes Tingsbø, got the pacing a little wrong.
Low right there for Femling. The rhythm looked good. The composure looked like the way it should do. But all of those shots, in fact, were low right.
Now, Mike, had Johannes Tingsbø and Martin Fourcade switched numbers, with Fourcade starting 3 and Johannes starting 18, do you think we'd have seen a different story?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I think Martin would have tried pressing hard on the first lap, but not as hard as he did. He did run out of steam, didn't he, on the last half of the third lap. So yes, I think it would have been different. Johannes then would have had a better oversight on the big names. He had nobody except Hofer ahead of him, and he He caught, of course, he pulled a minute back on Lukas Hofer. And at the end of the day, at the moment, Hofer 15th position, equal 15th with Porshnev, but Lukas missing 2 targets.
So take away the 50 seconds that would have cost. He would have been, what, 30, late 30s behind, so down in 6 or 7. Not a bad effort, but remember, this is where Lukas Hofer got his only World Cup win. He shared a victory with Simon Schemp, who really, over the years, has been the best athlete here at Antholz.
Simon Schemp loved this venue. His body reacted well to thinner air, as some athletes do.
Now, are we going to see an Austrian in the top 10 positions? Eberhardt lying in 19th at the moment, having missed 3. Everything just slightly right at the moment. That would have put the prone target down. It's a good shoot from Leitner. He wraps it up with the perfect score. Rico Gross celebrates. Watch the clock. Anything under 30 seconds is good. We'll assume he'll lose a few more as the race goes on. But if he can keep it within 45 seconds, he's going into the top 8 or 9. 9th at the moment for Felix Leitner. Work to be done on the last 3.3. Well, what a day. The standings at the finish with Alexander Loganov of Russia on top of the podium at the moment. Lapshin, are we going to see some fireworks here? No break in the rhythm, having missed number 4. So 1 miss on each of the shoots for Lapshin. Take those away, and he really is top 5 potential. So that would have been a sensational result for the Korean team. Dominic Landertinger, one of the later starters, 18.3 behind. Slightly surprised with that. As he started steady, are we going to see an improvement over the next couple of laps? I think his days of being amongst the top 3 or 4 in terms of ski speed have gone.
Yes, the sprint was never his favourite race because of the lack of that absolute top-end pace that you need to win the sprint competition. 19 seconds, let's be honest, that's a good start. He's well and truly competitive, and he's only 9 seconds away from Johannes Tinges Bo's time, so that's a decent start. Elisiev coming in, missing just 1 shot. Another good result from the Russian team.
Finish line now, Elisiev from 11th position.
Hat mich schon sehr geärgert. Die Stimmung ist hier doch einfach immer mega und wenn man dann nicht so klar kriegt, ist schon immer enttäuschend. Aber Goal ist immer Goal. Goal ist immer Goal. Auf jeden Fall. Jetzt hoffen wir mal, also unsere Ausgangsposition für das ganze deutsche Team ist gar nicht so schlecht und wir greifen auf jeden Fall schon an.
Well, Just about as you said, Mike, just a little bit too much gas used on the first lap, nothing to get him over the last 1.5k.
I really feel from there, and you know, let's just say, I mean, he'll be looking at it tonight. He went out with a clear strategy, but it's very difficult if you push that hard on lap one. It's very difficult for that not to really make you suffer, as he did. Especially the last half of the third lap, on the journey back home, and I think he'll be a little you could feel it there. He's disappointed.
But what's good news as far as the Norwegians go is he didn't get a case of the nerves. He was in a top position, chance of winning, but he still managed to clear 5 in the standing shoot. You think of his Olympic sprints, 54th, 31st, disasters. He didn't have that, and he's still in the money for the pursuit.
I thought he did a fantastic job to come into the range second time in the standing. You could almost sense that he was beginning to fade. The pace was so strong the first lap, but he went for that attacking, aggressive self-confidence, and he hit all 5 targets within 23 seconds, and that's spectacular. That's world class. Jesper Nellen, the time is okay. He may well finish top 10 if all 5 go down. That last shot, it's the thinking shot. You could argue as well that it's the shot where you're just trying to hold your breath a little bit too long without another breath to get it over and done with.
Smolsky focusing on the perfect score, and it pays off. Another good clear shoot, only 28 off the pace coming in. He's going to certainly have a chance of going top 10. We've got just over a minute separating the top 10 at the moment, and Smolsky with another 30 metres to go before the clock will stop, will be comfortably inside that. Well, Phil Maillet was the first man to set a potential winning time. He's been pushed down into second. It's going to be interesting to hear what he has to say, and here he is. Louis Hebert saying that the conditions and everything's been looking perfect this season. He says, yeah, ever since the beginning of the season I've been skiing well. He's full of confidence. He knows he's got medal potential. He was after the gold today, and he's disappointed to have missed out on that. He thought he had the gold, even when he'd finished. And he says he skied really well on the last 3.3 and went through a lot of emotions on that last lap. And now he has to refocus for tomorrow's race. And well, he said he was tomorrow's race at the end of his sprint event, and he feels that might have lost him a few seconds, but he's still been one of the fastest on the last lap. Yeah, disappointed with the silver when the gold was so close, but how was he to know that Loganov was going to produce his race of the season, an improvement of percentage points, not fractions of percentage points?
It's quite an incredible turnaround of form, and when Phil Maillet has been setting the top 3 fastest ski times practically all season, he knew in his own mind, and that maybe broke his concentration. He knew as Leitner comes in there, that's a good, you mentioned he may make a top 10, he has. Can he stay there? Quite possibly he can.
Well, we've got to remember there are some big names starting late. Smolsky, 89, he's gone through in 7th position after the first shoot, and really he's the only one who might challenge the top 10 as they stand at the moment.
I'm just thinking, Jakov Fak, yeah, he was off the pace. Jakov shooting the best, the perfect 5, but 38 seconds behind.
No change for a while now in the top 4, but we have just seen Felix Leitner come in and put Austria into the top 10. So the French are there, the Norwegians are there, the Germans are there, the Austrians are there, but it's Russia on top at the moment in the sprint event for the first time since 2008. Martin Fourcade, when he produces a perfect shooting score and skis well, he's used to winning. Nowadays, he's relying on others to make mistakes. You've got to bear in mind that Fillon Maillet missed the target and still outskied Martin Fourcade, logging off 10 out of 10. A time of 22:48 has given him the gold. Now, this is what we were waiting for, Mike, to see what Dominic Landertinger could do coming in. He's not going to match the best, 28.8 outside, and if he keeps that margin, he's going to go into around 7th or 8th place, which is not bad considering the form he's shown this year.
It's not bad at all, and especially tomorrow when it's a 4 times into the range competition. That's what he likes best. He needs to set a platform, a high platform, and he needs these 5.
Lovely shot. Oh, perfect one, followed by a very, very wayward low left for Landertinger, and his chance of a top 10 has just disintegrated. Now he's fighting for top 25.
So Rico Gross there, he knows how this works. He took the bronze in 95 and then he took the silver in 2006. He knows how it works. He's tried to coach his team to cope with those pressures. Of the last 2 shots, it didn't work out.
Yeah, we just got a shot of Smolsky, who has he's lost 20 seconds so far on the last lap. That's in the first the first 1.9 kilometers of the final lap. So it doesn't bode well for him in terms of staying in the top 10. Jakov Fak 40 seconds off. What's happened to Jakov? Slovenia's fastest skier for a number of years alongside Bauer.
Just looking at the track, the temperature drop, we thought maybe it had dropped down, but you still feel the snow is a little wet in the main parts of the tracks in the sunshine, and that hasn't cooled down enough. I was just about to say he's the master of holding his nerve on the last shot, but he didn't. He's put so much effort in there in the skiing part of this biathlon that it tripped him up on the last shot. He'll be so disappointed. He knows he needed 10 there, 10 hits to set him up in a top 20 position for a good performance tomorrow. And he's gone the wrong way.
Well, it's not going to make too much difference to his result now, having missed 2 in that stand. But had he cleared and made a navigation error, Mike, that would have been unforgivable.
Well, unfortunately, he did break the timing, so he would have cut out in 14th position had he shot clear. But we'll see his time again after a penalty loop and having to retrace his tracks.
It'll be interesting to see how the computer copes with that. Very nicely is the answer. Martin Fourcade being told that he's produced a good time. Fourcade saying he doesn't know what his time is, but he thinks it's an improvement on what he's done over the last few weeks. He said he didn't shoot particularly fast, wanted to make sure. And he was considerably slower than Quentin. He feels he put in a really good race. Yeah, he thinks he's in shape, and he's after medals. He says bronze is good enough for me. And he says he'll be delighted to hear the French anthem when it plays. It's not going to be today because Fillon Maillet has now been pushed down into 2nd position. But he says the spirit in the French team is good, and he's delighted for himself. He's delighted for Quentin Fillon Maillet. And he's looking forward to hearing the anthem. He's heard it a few times over the years. Where's it going to come, Mike? The pursuit?
Hey, the pursuit. I think there's a strong chance there tomorrow. Fillon Maillet, he missed 1 today. It's good shooting. It's 90%. Of course, Martin hitting the perfect 10 today. I think Martin can hit the perfect 20 tomorrow, and that could well be a gold medal.
Smolsky losing over 40 seconds on the last lap, burnt out, but great effort from him, and he'll be delighted to have hit all the targets. Number 102 in for his second shoot, that's Klemen Bauer of Slovenia, and he's so close to our commentary position that we can't see his targets.
Wasn't that a fabulous shot at the finish line? Just bodies, there's nothing left in these athletes. It is a World Championships. They push hard. They've got that mentality all the time to push hard. This is great news for Poland. Mickey Grice, who gave the interview earlier on the conditions on the track, as his team really have come in here strong, the Polish team.
Guzik out on track as we see Pepe Femling of Sweden round the last couple of corners, over a minute behind already. If he can limit it to 1:30, he'll go into the top 30. Sweden's best, Seb Samuelsson, who lies 11th. Nothing quite like the Olympic story from 2018. But the Swedes are still there or thereabouts. The mixed relays come and gone. That was always a big chance. They do tend to do pretty well in the men and the women's relays as well.
Yes, there's still, of course, the single mixed relay, and that'll be Seb Samuelsson with Hannah Öberg, and that's a medal-winning team on a good shooting day.
Certainly is, and they took the top spot in Östersund, the first single mixed relay of the season. So hopefully those memories will serve them well. Guzik.
This is a really good performance from Guzik. Great to see a smaller nation, another smaller nation coming up into the top, hopefully 24th, just in there.
That's okay. Decent World Cup points, top 40 all getting World Cup points.
I'm just thinking about the way this race unfolded today, Patrick. I raced here in '93 when the World Championships came here, and there was a Russian on the podium for a long time, Max Musmilov, and everybody thought he was the winner. Then Patrice Bailly-Salans came through at the very end, pipped him by 1.2 seconds to take the gold medal, and unfortunately it's happened the opposite way around for the French team today. They thought Fillon-Maillet had won, and Loganov coming through to take that gold medal.
And so Loganov gets his second career win, the last one in Oberhof last year in the sprint event in difficult conditions. Remember, he got the silver medal in the sprint in Östersund last year, so he's gone one better this time round, which is exactly what yesterday's winner did as well, Roysland. Shoot off the last man to win for Russia, but there'll be a party in the Russian house tonight. The French certainly should celebrate as well. They've got silver and bronze with Fillon-Maillet and Martin Fourcade. Well, that's just about all we got time for today. We've got the women's pursuit first tomorrow, starts at 11:45 UK time. Hope you join us for that. Roysland will be the first away, and that is going to be an absolute cracker of a race, Mike, with so many starting in the first minute.
An incredible race it was the other day. We might even see something spectacular, like Ekhoff coming back from 2 minutes behind to challenge a top 10 position.
And the men, less than 24 hours to recover before they have to do it all over again. Loganov will be chased out of the start gate by Fillon-Maillet, Martin Fourcade, Tadej Bo and Johannes Tingesbo. Not a pleasant prospect for him.
Vielleicht sogar 30.
Das würden wir dem sympathischen Hochwilsner wirklich ganz, ganz wünschen. Besonders wenn man seine Krankheitsgeschichte irgendwie kennt. Aber er ist ein Kämpfer vor dem Herrn.
Schnellste Zeiten heute, also rein die Läufezeit, 4 mal je, auf 2.
Sugli sci è stato campione di Romagna, però purtroppo e nella combinazione sembra ormai cosa fatta per Alexander Loginov davanti al campione poi i fratelli Cari e Johannes Finestre, poi Emilia Gianni, Carla Russo, francese, norvegese, il podio, i primi 6, poi 2 tedeschi, primo degli azzurri, ricordiamo ancora un grande Luca Sofo, partito per anche parlare
Auf der letzten Runde dann sogar nochmals Johannes, den jetzt überholen können. Er wusste es,
and now result 64th. So that's what he
Wow, Rasmus Kuye, 69. Morgen nicht dabei.
Der ist momentan auf dem Schleudersitz der Rainer Dutschenko. Approaching the finish line now. 85 and Bogdan Silva 67. They have tomorrow a rest day.
Simone auf 37. Auf 40, Bomolini auf 40, gleiche Zeit.
And now the
Alexander, congratulations and world champion. Last year it was close already, but this is the success. What was the key to do it?
Поздравляю, какой сегодня был ключевой момент на победу?
Я думаю, что залог, ну, еще рано говорить про победу, но залог сегодняшнего хорошего результата, я думаю, что чистая стрельба.
Well, it's still early to say that I won. There's still some athletes out there, but I think the key point was the good shooting.
In the course, surely you got some information. How important was it to get that, to push that hard in the last loop?
Да, я был немножко в выигрышной ситуации, что я знал время Кантана и Мартана, и поэтому мне было чуть проще, но в Анхольце финишный круг всегда дается тяжело, вне зависимости от того, знаешь ты время соперников или нет.
Yes, of course, I had an advantage that I knew exactly the timing of Martin and Quentin. But of course, in Antolz, it's always very hard because the last lap is always very tough.
Congratulations, Madiet.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mehr als 20 Millionen Fans in Russland heute live dabei gewesen sein. Bei dieser Übertragung und mehr werden es dann sogar noch morgen werden in der Verfolgung. Also die perfekte Werbung für Antolz auch in Russland. Berlin haben wir gehört, war zum einen das perfekte Schießen, auch das Wissen, wie war Vulkan, wie war Viola auch wenn man immer wieder aufpassen muss in Antolz eben bei der letzten Runde aufgrund der Höhe. Ja, so ein ganz wunderschön wie heute für Alexander Lognov. So ein Tag, auf dem ich so heute und wer weiß, wann wir uns wiedersehen. Ach, wie wandeln in die schönen Stunden, die wollten von der Größe her mit.
Championships Antolz on December 2020. Flower presentation for the Sprint 10-kilometer competition men. On third place, representing France, Martin Fourcade.
The athletes are awarded by Mr. Max Kopp from the IBU and Mr. Philip Ackermann from the local government of Südtirol.
On second place, representing France, Canton Fillon-Maillet. and world champion representing Russia, Alexander Loginov. Alexander Loginov, Canton Fiormani, Martin Tutkade. With a big hand to the top 3 athletes. Alexander Loginov, Canton Fiormani, Martin Tutkade. Thank you. Give a big hand and see you this evening at 8 p.m. for the awarding ceremony in the Medal Plaza from Antols. Thank you very much, and give again a big hand to Loginov, Fiormani, and Tutkade.
Ja, Luis, damit glaube ich, können wir hier für Servus, für Gott und wie immer auf Wiedersehen sagen. Behalt das Mikrofon noch in der Hand.